Hi, everybody. This is Lee, and I'm doing another rundown of upcoming progressive convergences, as they're usually called. World Beyond War, No War 2017. That's going to be in Washington, D.C. at American University, the Katzen Center. This is September 22nd, which is today from the recording of this video, through the 24th, so this weekend. Jill Stein is going to be the keynote speaker, Jill Stein of the Green Party. Also, Chelsea Manning will be in attendance. Edward Snowden will join by video link. And of course, Medea Benjamin of Code Pink. And so lots of information, a grassroots response to the foreign policy speech making that we've been hearing lately. This is going to be September 26th and 27th, the net neutrality convergence that's taking place in Washington, D.C. and various locations. I'm going to post a link in the description so you can learn more about what they're doing. But apparently the FCC is attempting to kill net neutrality on behalf of certain telecom corporations. These ISPs such as AT&T and Verizon, among others, would love to apply some user fees on us to access content, would love to slow down certain applications and services, and then also censor what we can see online, and that it interferes with free expression of users on the internet, which has been a guiding principle since its creation by Al Gore, who gave it to us. There is an effort to control the future and access to the internet by these corporations, to harm the consumers and the citizens who use the internet as an alternative to mainstream media. And this is being pushed by bad legislation, this effort to kill net neutrality, that there's bad legislation coming down the pipeline, and that Congress has the power to vote up that legislation and thereby kill net neutrality, or to vote down that legislation and thereby save net neutrality. And so, of course, internet users want to save net neutrality, which means September 26th through 27th, there's going to be a convergence to meet these congressmen in person and lobby them against the other lobbyists of the telecom industry. And so you can come to that link and learn more about how to get to Washington, D.C. if you need assistance, or if you need assistance with accommodations. Otherwise, they're encouraging you to stay in your home state and lobby your congressman from your home state. And so there's ways to participate from where you are, or if you can travel. So there'll be more information in the description. The next meeting is October 7th through 8th, and this is the Take Back the Vote conference. It's going to take place in Berkeley, California, and basically addressing all the things that went wrong with the 2016 Democratic primary, and then also the 2016 general election, that there were bad things that occurred in both sides of that event, and that there were statistical analysis done by computer experts, mathematicians, election experts, finding that the numbers that occurred in the Democratic primary were impossible, and that Bernie Sanders likely lost about 184 delegates as a result of electoral fraud. And that these were attacks not against the candidates, they were attacks against the voters themselves, the citizens who were attacked by the Democratic Party, and then also certain election officials who assisted them with that. And that WikiLeaks revealed a lot, to the point that certain members of the Democratic National Committee had to step down from their positions, that they could not face those accusations or dispute those accusations that they were involved in electoral malfeasance and fraud against voters. That rather than do that, they stepped down. And that the DNC fraud lawsuit revealed even more, that there was a concerted effort to do deceptive practice and fraud, and that it actually approached the level of racketeering in certain states. That these were public places, polling places, funded by public tax money, and that the machinery, the infrastructure, and the use of election officials, and then election data, voter data, this is all provided by public means. And so there was a deceptive practice in that arena as well. So these issues are going to be addressed. Also, in the general election side, the use of the cross-check system by Chris Kobach of Kansas, KKK. Anyway, and that there have been multiple accusations coming from Chris Kobach of criminality by the voters. That Chris Kobach has come out and accused us voters of being criminals for attempting to cast ballots. And he's doing that in order to protect the wherewithal of the party that he supports. And that this is historical, that white supremacists usually did accuse voters of criminality, specifically black voters during Reconstruction, in order to deny them the right to civic participation. That once upon a time, it was the Republican Party that demanded that African Americans who were formerly slaves be allowed to cast ballots. And then there were white supremacists who terrorized them, intimidated them, and then accused them of being criminals and fraudulent in their votes, to the point that it took decades for African Americans to be allowed to vote again. And that now Chris Kobach of Kansas is making those same accusations, and this time not against black voters, but basically voters against, in the opposition party, that he's willing to make these false accusations of criminality and use the cross-check system to purge these voters from the rolls so they cannot cast ballots. And that these issues, all of these issues must be addressed. And the fact that we should follow the gold standard of elections using paper ballots, using exit polls to check those ballots, and then hand counting of those ballots, rather than using machines that have been proven unreliable, with untraceable number tabulation, and then the ability to be reprogrammed in a way that's unfair. So anyway, that's the Take Back the Vote conference. That's in Berkeley, California, October 7th through 8th. And again, that link will be in the description. Also, swinging back to foreign policy, there's going to be Divest from the War Machine, and that official launch is going to be October 21st through 22nd. And so this is the divestment movement, which has been used successfully to check unrestrained, unregulated corporate power. And that divestment has been used against the nation of South Africa to stop them from practicing apartheid. It was used in Montgomery, Alabama, to stop apartheid here in the United States and segregation in public transportation. Also, it's still being used right now against the fossil fuel industry, the divestment movement, whereby entire cities, educational institutions, religious institutions, private investors are withdrawing funds from corporations or practices in which they do not believe. And so the development, extraction, production, and transportation of fossil fuel has caused so much harm that people have decided they don't want to fund it anymore. And so they've been divesting their funds. Now the divestment movement is approaching the military defense industry, and people are saying we should divest our funds from the military defense industry since we do not believe in what they are doing. So that movement is launching October 21st and 22nd. Jamu Baraka will be one of the speakers, and of course, Medea Benjamin. You hear that car horn? So I'm going to finish up there and just say that these are some ways that you can participate either from the comfort of your home, or if you can travel to Washington, D.C. or California or on location, that you can do that and assist in redirecting our federal policy, our national policy, in ways that would be beneficial, not for corporations, but for consumers, the citizens. That people come first. That, people are people. That corporations, no matter what people say, are not human. Uh, and that we humans are not animals. And so we should not take that treatment. And that these are ways that we can fight against that. And I say good luck.